Hello and welcome to Film Companion South. And before I begin the review of this film that we're going to talk about today, I'm going to narrate an anecdote, an episode that happened actually with a friend who's a social worker. Now, she was giving one of those lectures about good touch, bad touch to the parents of children of a school. And in the middle, she started noticing that the parents were all talking about ting, and they were not mentioning the words of certain body parts, and they were saying things like ting and it and all that. So she had a sudden idea that maybe the parents themselves were uncomfortable using certain words, and so she asked all the parents to stand up and say the words penis and vagina. And then later she told me that half the people couldn't like utter those words without giggling or laughing, that they could not say penis or vagina without giggling or laughing. The whole point being that if you cannot even say the name of the word without laughing, you're associating shame with that word, and that shame gets passed on to the children. Anyway, that's a different point. But why I wanted to say this anecdote is because it shows how important it is in our country to talk about sex in a healthy, positive manner, to say that it's nothing to be ashamed of, to say that it's nothing to be kept hidden, and to say that it's completely okay and a natural part of life. But of course, films in our country have started talking about sex only fairly recently. I remember, I'm not talking about the dramas that are made like My Brother Nikhil about a gay couple. I'm talking about the more mainstream kind of films like Kal Ho Na Ho and Dostana. Those films talked about homosexuality, and suddenly those films made it kind of safe for people to talk about gayness in their living rooms. Now, whatever the problems you may have with the representation in the films themselves, those films made it easier for people to talk about certain issues like in a more open manner because it was up there on screen. And similarly and more successfully, we've had R.S. Prasanna's Kalyana Samel Sadam in Tamil and Shubh Mangal Savdan in Hindi. Again, these are icky issues, and these films, through their comedy, maybe because comedy puts us in a good mood, and maybe because this good mood makes us feel that we can talk about it without being embarrassed or awkward about it, these films make us talk about stuff that we wouldn't normally talk about in a public area. Now, all of this is a way of coming to the film that we are going to be talking about this week, which is called Ek Mini Katha. It is a Telugu film. It is on Amazon Prime Video, and it is directed by Karthik Rapolu. Santosh Shoban plays Santosh, a man with a small penis. Rather, he thinks he has a small penis, and it may be a kind of a complex. We get a scene in a college where, actually out of college, where his girlfriend kicks him out after inviting him over to a house to have sex. The assumption is that she's seen him naked and she thinks that his organ is too small, but maybe it's just that she's been seeing too much porn and her expectations are really out there. And anyway, all of this scars Santosh to such an extent that he sings a song about wanting a king-size cigarette and ending up with a small beady. So a lot of this film is about his attempts to come to terms with the fact that he has the small penis. He joins something called SDG, which is a small dick group. He tries a hand pump. He goes to a Guruji who is supposed to have some magic leaves that will magically enlarge the penis. He takes some weird kind of tablets. He even goes in for dangerous surgery involving penis enlargement where people are known to die. And this film is brought in this film as a kind of a warning because people are like even ready to face death rather than live with the supposed shame of having a small penis. The problem with the film is that the comedy only works occasionally. I wish it had been more like Kalyana Samel Sadam or Shubh Mangal Savdan, where the humor was integrated very organically into the problem itself, or rather the so-called problem itself. What works, for instance, are the occasional slapstick bits. There are some clever one-liners, but otherwise we get the heroine, who's Kavya Thapar. She keeps talking about how she likes Big Bang Theory. Get it? It's Big Bang Theory, not Small Bang Theory. So everything she likes is big, and so the words big and small are used over and over again, and they put Santosh into a further bit of a complex. The writing is also all over the place. There's a big setup with a psychiatrist, which at the end of it is not really necessary because all he ends up doing is give a message which we get kind of through the film anyway. Otherwise, again, we're left with jokes like somebody says, bring me your financial papers, your property papers because of a loan that you need, and this guy gets him like newspapers. My favorite joke in this movie is the time when Santosh goes to this doctor who's doing the penis enlargement. The doctor asks him, okay, how long do you want your penis to be? And by that time, for some reason, Santosh has gotten engaged to this Kavya Tapal girl. And what happens is that he calls her up and asks what her favorite number is. And she says 9. And so he tells this doctor, okay, 9 inches. I was wondering what if her favorite number had been 73.2 or something. What we needed was sharper writing, writing that is more specific to the condition, and that is not here for the most part. That happens only in the climax, which is actually a big, as in really big, rom-com kind of climax, which involves a loudspeaker, and it brings across the film's messages beautifully, that Santosh himself is no longer ashamed of whatever he is, and it's also something that society should not be ashamed of and kind of snicker whenever it sees. But this big climax apart, oh wow, climax in a movie about a penis. Anyway, this big climax apart, I would say that this film is, it's neither limp nor is it hard hitting. If you like this video, do subscribe to Film Companion South and see you soon at the movies.